Well, hello, everybody. I'm going to allow Billy to do the intro.
This is the TexAgs Rewind.
Presented by?
Taylor Swift. Oh, Yeti.
Yeti. Hey,
TexAgs and Yeti.
It was a good show today. We talked Buzz Williams extension.
Yep.
And I don't understand why it's such a topic. Like, I'm glad he got his extension. He's got the team going in the right direction. And the talent that they're going to have this year, they should be a week 2 Sweet 16 kind of caliber team.
People lean on one thing, and they can't get off of it. And it's, A&M hasn't won a tournament game. And there's so much more nuance to that, and there's so much more beside that to look and see what kind of – I know ultimately that's the goal. And in your tenure you need to do – but they have made significant improvements from year 1 to year 3 to year 4. And we know what went on in year 2. They lost a month of games. But year 1, year 2, year 1, year 3, year 4. And if you look at Buzz Williams' team that he's got coming back, should absolutely be the best basketball team that he's put on the court in year 5. By any metric you want to measure it, the arrow's pointing up. And I think A&M's got their coach. And it wasn't some wild extension and raise that was reckless or anything like that. I think it was just very generic, run of the mill, what you do when you want to keep a basketball coach. And I think everything you look at, the one thing you can come back to me with is, well, they haven't won a tournament game, and I get it, but every other thing checks and says that this program is ascending under a coach that's now going into year 5. And by the way, you've had a tough time keeping coaches, with the exception of Kennedy, but Gillespie left for Kentucky, Turgeon left for Maryland. You want to keep Buzz here where he's got it going. I'm just telling you right now, and they did the right thing.
Yep. So we did that on the show. We had Gary Striewski of ESPN, a SportsCenter anchor, on the program. He was really good and made us laugh a little bit.
He was saying, he asked you, can I get – I don't know if you guys have ever gotten Giannis on the show. I said, New York couldn't even get, Kostas Antetokounmpo on the show.
Really?
What's the fourth brother's name? What's his name?
Kulo.
Yeah, Kostas. It's like something, but you couldn't get him on the show, much less.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'd like you to get his teammate, a guy named Chris Middleton.
It's interesting. The first thing you thought of was, let's go negative on Nuno there. First thing you thought of.
Well, right when he said that, I was laughing. Because I thought it was a pretty good joke. I'm like, Giannis, he couldn't even get. I think one of their names is like Alex. You couldn't get Alex Antetokounmpo.
No, I can't, but I'm working on getting others.
Why don't you work on Alex?
Okay, I think I will. How about that?
It's like all these Greek names, and it was Alex. I know that's Greek. There's Greek name too, but it's like, and about the 5th brother, they just said, just call him Alex.
I'll work on all the Milwaukee Bucks on this program, and Chris Middleton, obviously. Will Johnson came in the studio, talked a little Aggie football, and this guy on the Johnny Manziel documentary. All that and more here on the TexAgs Rewind. Buzz Williams extended. Why did Twitter, it was such a polarizing thing to have. I don't know if you saw it on Friday when it came down, but there was of course, Longhorn people, T-Sips, whatever, were like, oh, yeah, of course, you lose in the first round. You got And then I think there was a lot of people that were happy with the extension of Buzz. I don't know why it's such a polarizing topic. A&M is not Duke. Sorry. You're not going to get a bunch of 5 stars every time. Should we want to be there? Absolutely. But I think he is building something here and building it in the way that Billy was building it. I can't speak today, having a little minor stroke. But I'm totally fine with the extension for Buzz.
Yeah, I feel good about the job Buzz is doing. If they want to give him an extension, okay. I said where they're going that though is that you haven't won a tournament game. You've been in the tournament. You've been here 4 years. 1 year really didn't count, right?
Right.
And your teams have been good at the end of the year, but you still have been in the tournament once and haven't won a tournament game. Is that normally the resume of a coach you want to extend? That said, you just been A&M's kind of a different animal.
Yep.
A&M's trying to build a program, and one of the best ways, or one of the most necessary ingredients for building a program is stability of coaching.
Yeah. Stability of coaching. Also, do we not, if we're only basing it on the Penn State game, if that's the only piece of information, we're talking about a 2-time coach of the year who just won 15 games in the SEC. has a huge portion of this team coming back with some reinforcements. A guy that probably could get another gig if he wanted to. He's here. He's building it. And I think we are absolutely trending in the right direction. Who are some teams you're intrigued by here entering this 2023 season?
So the funny thing about A&M is I was down there in Houston the year Manziel won the Heisman. So I was there. I got to see it at the very top, at the very upper echelon in terms of what the Aggies were doing that season and the excitement around Houston, because obviously the transplants, I don't even think you could call them transplants, because everybody from College Station goes to Houston. So that was sort of my first eye-opening experience, because I grew up in Colorado, where up until right this season with Dion up in Boulder, college football really wasn't that big of a thing. So my first year at ESPN, I remember like the oh my gosh, this is a different breed. I was at the whiteout for Penn State, Ohio State, under the lights, Beaver Stadium, and I was sitting in the student section, and I thought the stadium was going to collapse. It was unbelievable. 110,000. Everything was rocking. Everything. I mean, if you've been to Beaver Stadium, or if you've seen it, it's just wood. it's like a wooden roller coaster, and everything's shaking. But as it relates to your question, I'm actually really excited to see what Colorado does. I was having a conversation with actually Randy Scott and a couple of my other coworkers over there on the SportsCenter side, and they think they're going to be a sub 500 team. I think they're going to be a plus 500 team. I just think he's just got the it factor. He's got his kids. I know that the transfer portal is what it is, but he's used it to his benefit. And until he gives us a reason to doubt him, give me Colorado. I'm also interested to see what DJ Uiagalelei. I know this is Pac-12 and I know it's SEC country down there, but I'm interested to see what he does without the pressure of being at a program like Clemson, right? He's in Corvallis, Oregon State, absolutely no pressure. There's no expectations. He's a West Coast kid. He had so much hype going into his recruitment to Clemson.
September's huge because of how October's going to start.
Mm-hmm.
You get Alabama at home to begin October, and then you go to Tennessee second weekend. You get the off week, but then you can even add the fact that South Carolina, that's much improved, comes in here in October. I just think it's imperative to start 5-0, and that's putting a lot of pressure on a team to go say you got to be 5-0 coming out of September, because you get the 3 Power 5 teams in there in September. You're going to go to Miami, you're going to host Auburn, and then you get the Arlington game, neutral site against Arkansas. But I think A&M is favored in all 3 of those Power 5 games. I know Miami's on the road, but I think the Aggies are the favorite there. Auburn, what do you get this early in the Hugh Freeze tenure? Maybe it's better to get Auburn in September, as they maybe are trying to figure things out. And then I just think you're going to be the favorite in the neutral site game against Arkansas. The way October looks on paper, you got to be 5-0. Maybe you could get away with 4-1 in September, but you have to be good right out of the gates. You have to have a good first month of the season.
I've been saying it for a while, and I'm crazy. I know that, but while I have respect for Alabama, a lot of respect, and an off year for them means they lose 2 games, right? Like that, programs wish that they could touch that. I am not, as of today, that worried about Alabama. They'll figure it out because they're Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But they got a lot of questions, right? And you get them at Kyle Field, and Jimbo, they won in 2021. Last year, a play away from winning. I feel like that can be – they're a bit vulnerable.
And for me, it's like I just said about September. It's about getting to that Alabama game and making it what it should be. You beat them a couple of years ago, but you stubbed your toe twice before that game got there. You were on the 2-yard line last year, nearly beat them in a primetime game again, but you had stubbed your toe prior to Alabama. This September, this season, is a little bit harder than it has been in the past, that first month.
Quick version of the funniest thing with the Johnny thing, 2 things, is number 1, when I reported his half-game suspension, he calls me. He's in their house, like, right there. And I'm like, why is Johnny calling? I'm, like, about to put this out. And he said, when are you going to put out my suspension? He goes, we're all sitting here on the house waiting to see it on SportsCenter. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to ask you because I'm not going to put you on it. I know there's all kinds of legal. I said, but if I'm wrong and you see this come out, I need a call back within 5 seconds of that text being sent.
Right.
So I sent half game against a tweet, half game against Rice.
I was here for
Felt
it.
so weird that it was a half a game. And then it's going across the scroll. I hadn't heard anything from him, so I felt good about my sources, but it was the first time that I'd ever seen anything scroll on ESPN from me or TexAgs, and I'm like, man, this is a one-shot deal. It better be right, and it was. The other thing is I went into like Chimmy's or somewhere one evening, like with some friends that were in town. It's actually, I think it was Jen Brown and Bruce Feldman, actually. They were here for something. And we go in, it might have been Kaylee at that time, I don't know. But we go into Chimmy's, and he comes up, and he's like, man, I just spent 2 days in a row, 8 hours a day, meeting with the NCAA. They were like at, what's the restaurant? Oh, they were at Cafe Excel. That was the lunch. And it's like the NCAA, 8 hours, 2 days in a row. And I was like, how'd it go? And he's like, I crushed it. Like it was a job interview. And I'm going, and I guess he did, to have a half game suspension.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a half a game.
Tell them what to do, Billy.
Subscribe, tell your friends, support the YouTube channel, support the show,
Support Taylor Swift.
support TexAgs.
Yeah, please do
Get
that.
the word out. The word's out. It's been out, but can always be more.
See you next time.